Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third class of the October Advisor Ambassador Program. My name is Zach Hewells, and I work in the Marketing Communications Department at the NAFA Home Office. We have a great speaker for you today, Gafar Chowdhury, and he's going to be presenting Being a Playmaker in the Financial Industry. Gafar is from Greater Washington, D.C., NAFA's Greater Washington, D.C. chapter, also on the, Greater Washington, D.C. board. And he just recently graduated from NAFA's Lilly class, which is the Leadership in Life Institute. Amazing class that a lot of NAFA people that go through say it's life-changing. So if you want any information on that, I'm sure Gafar could answer some questions, or I could as well. But if you have any questions for him during the presentation, feel free to use the Zoom feature, the chat at the bottom of your screen. And at the end of the presentation, we can open it up to questions if you want to unmute yourself and ask him directly. But without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Gafar. So welcome. It's good to have you.
Thank you, Zach. I appreciate it. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, but I don't think we don't see your screen anymore.
Oh, no, that's not good. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Oh, that's fine. In the meantime, how is everyone's Wednesday going? Hopefully it's going well. I know a lot of people around our office here are celebrating the Nationals winning their Game 1 of the World Series. So that's pretty great. Gafar included.
All right, let's try this again.
Okay. There we go.
All right. Fingers crossed, guys. Technology will cooperate with us this afternoon. I want to thank NAFA. I want to thank Zach for putting this together. My hope is everyone on the call today has some good takeaways in terms of things that I've learned throughout my years in the industry, and hopefully you guys can put that to practice and see some of the success that I've been able to see over the years. Let's see here. All right, here we go. So currently I'm a managing director and advisor at First Financial Group. I've been with the firm for about 8 years now. I've been in the industry for 12 years. My expertise is around financial planning, and over the last 2.5, 3 years, I've gotten pretty entrenched into business strategies and business planning as well. We do a fair amount of asset management. I have a fair amount of life insurance and disability insurance protection business. Same with executive compensation strategies when it comes to working with business owners and businesses. And then we do exit planning and retirement income planning as well, as our clients are getting ready to either sell their business, get out of their business, and also for individuals as they begin thinking and planning for retirement income and distribution of that income. The team currently consists of an administrative assistant. I have an associate advisor. It's a recent grad from college, and an investment specialist that's been in the industry for about 19 years now, and a business strategy specialist that is a former CFO of a company in the Northern Virginia area, and it's been a financial advisor for the last 16 years. So a fair amount of expertise, or at least I'd like to believe, in terms of how we can help our clients within my practice. My primary markets over the years have been legal professionals. I work with a lot of attorneys downtown in D.C., a lot of medical professionals as well, specifically dentists, surgeons, and over the last year, working with veterinarians. And we also, as I mentioned, work with businesses and business owners. When we're working with businesses, I look for businesses that have at least $3 million in revenue. That tends to be a good sweet spot, or at least a minimum, amount of revenue that we're able to kind of get hands-on and actually help businesses and business owners implement some strategies that help them optimize their balance sheet. So, as I was saying at the beginning of this call, my hope is that you guys are able to kind of take away some key components of how to create, if not maintain, a successful practice in whatever you may be doing, whether it's investments, insurance, planning, strategies, retirement. A minimum, I think, threshold to hold yourselves accountable to is working at least 60 hours a week. When I look at the ups and downs throughout my 12-year career, activity is one thing that I've been able to control, right? So when you focus on things that you can control, like, working 60 hours a week, putting in 60 hours of work, within 7 days, it often yields results. And within those 60 hours, you want to strive to have at least 5 new client meetings on a weekly basis. That obviously will kind of trickle down to future planning meetings, additional introductions, closes, etc. Speaking of introductions, I tell all the new folks in our organization, and I try to do this myself, obviously, to get at least 5 introductions on a weekly basis. If you're not getting introductions from existing clients and relationships, you should have at least 5 new contacts going into your Rolodex in terms of people that you're able to reach out to and potentially help. Last but not least, trying to close at least 1 case on a weekly basis. Okay, we look at there's 52 weeks out of the year. Let's say, accounting for holidays and vacation, you're working 46 out of 52. So that is 46 closed opportunities and 46 potential new clients that you're able to help on an annual basis. Okay. Oh, sorry about that. This is something that was made clear to me at the beginning of my career, and I found to be incredibly true. Your biggest enemy in this business is your inner me. Kind of a play on words, but again, very true. I think depending on different ebbs and flows, this industry, this profession, can become very lonely, right? Emotionally, personally, obviously financially, there's an impact when your practice has ebbs and flows. In order to mitigate that as best as possible, I would recommend establishing a good support system. Hopefully, most of you on the call here work in some kind of a organizational format where you have peers that you can go to or rely on for their expertise or their, feedback, and having, in addition to that, an accountability partner. It may be one and the same. Accountability partner is, typically someone like a manager, a coach, and maybe even, sometimes a peer who is trying to kind of, grow their practice just like you are. And I would encourage you, speaking of peers, to collaborate with your peers, especially those that have been around longer than you have. Okay? In the beginning stages of my career, I think what attributed to the momentum that I had and the little success that I was building was the joint work that I did. Okay? I think a lot of individuals get caught up entering the industry thinking that, hey, I'm just going to attend all the trainings and just going to soak up as much information as I can. And then when you're in front of a client, did I lose you guys? Did the screen stop again?
It's okay.
It's good. Okay. I just got a notification. Sorry. I would encourage you guys to do joint work. I think that's one of the mistakes that individuals make in the beginning stages because they think that they could, go out and do it on their own, given the information that they've kind of soaked in. It's a lot different seeing, someone that's experienced in front of a client versus trying to do it yourself. There's going to be questions. There's going to be, scenarios that you're not going to be familiar with. And I think taking experienced individuals out with you and getting a taste of, how they operate, how they, create the flow of a meeting and how they, ultimately come up with a solution, I think is a powerful thing in our industry. And then surround yourself with the types of people you want to work with, okay? And that being said, attend the networking events that will have the people that you want to work with. Surround yourself around social gatherings, or in social gatherings, rather, with people that you want to meet, right? There obviously needs to be some due diligence before these events and gatherings take place. So I would encourage you guys not to blindly, network, and I'll talk a little bit about that here shortly. Last but not least on this, stay up to date with current events. I think it's very important to, be in the know when someone, asks a question or, it's a good way to start a conversation. You want to be able to kind of, talk about what it is that's going on or give your input, give your opinion. Same goes for financial news. I get Market Watch every single day, on my phone. I'm looking at it, probably 5 or 6 times on a daily basis. Investment News is another great publication that kind of fills you in on what's going on in the industry, what our peers are doing, what companies are doing. So I think it's important to kind of stay up to date with current events, just from a life perspective and also from a financial perspective. Okay, establishing your market. I firmly believe this to be true. People do business with those they like, trust, and find to be reliable. Okay? They may not, or I should say, you may not be the smartest person in terms of knowing all there is to know about financial planning or investments or insurance or benefit strategies, whatever it is, right? That is not as important as being, a reliable source for your clients, as being someone that they can trust, and being someone that they like being around. All of the knowledge, it can be done behind the scenes. If you don't know the answer, we can always get it, right? Hopefully you have resources available to you, and NAPA is one of those resources, right? So again, I firmly believe this to be true. I will be the first one to admit I may not be the smartest person in the room, but I assure you I'm going to be likable, trustworthy, and certainly reliable. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to make sure to get it for you. Always work on building credibility. Again, with the 3 characteristics that I just highlighted, that's another one. As you establish your market and grow your practice, credibility is very, very important, right? Without credibility, you really can't set yourself apart from, someone down the street, right? That may be trying to do, what you're trying to do. In order to build credibility, you must have expertise, right? Grow that knowledge base, and you must be present, right? You have to show up. You can't be doing this work behind the scenes and kind of never being present, whether it's out in the general public, whether it's social media, or face-to-face with your clients, okay? In building your credibility, being present, to talk a little bit more about that, be active in the community, right? Whether it's a religious organization or a community fundraising group or a nonprofit or a cause that you believe in. I think it's very, very important if you want to continue growing your practice, your business, and surround yourself around the people that you want to hopefully help and work with, you have to be involved in the community, right? In my 12 years, I've never, ever had someone come to our office, knock on the door, and say, hey, I'm looking for a financial advisor today, right? It just doesn't happen. So you have to be out in the community. You have to be putting in the service. You have to be putting in the hours to be able to, help and be present. As I mentioned earlier, have an online presence. If you don't have a website, I would recommend doing that immediately. Nowadays, with the ease of use of the internet and people having mobile devices, you're going to be Googled, okay? Having a social media presence is also important. I've come across folks in my career, like other advisors in this industry, where they say, I'm not a big social media person, right? I'm sorry to say to that individual, if you're not a social media person, you're probably in the wrong industry, right? How else are people going to know about who you are, what you do? How are they going to trust you? How are they going to develop that rapport of saying, hey, this could be someone that I can enjoy working with, right? Or so-and-so is doing X, Y, Z in the community. That's a good person to know, right? Next, being intentional about building connection, okay? Going back to the reference with the networking that I mentioned. When you're out and about meeting people, know where you're going in terms of the setting, know the people that are going to be there, and then while you're there, make a valiant effort of shaking hands, making an introduction, not necessarily having a conversation about what it is that you do for a living, but just general human interaction and connecting, okay? And then build a strong foundation of centers of influence. This has been really impactful to my practice and career over the years, having a great or a couple of attorneys that I can refer that I know do a good job and don't cost an arm and a leg and will take care of my clients. Right. Same thing with CPAs, accountants, and then realtors, real estate professionals, mortgage lenders, business bankers. The list can go on, but having a strong foundation of those types of individuals in your back pocket to be able to introduce clients to is going to be very, very important. So building your business, we've talked about kind of establishing your market. We've talked about, kind of activity goals and what to aspire to or build your practice around. So let's look at building your business. I think one of the biggest things to kind of hone in on is knowing your why. Why are you doing the work that you're doing? Why are you helping the people that you're helping, right? It's not around just to make a living, right? It should be more focused around who you are as an individual, the impact you hope to have, and what is driving you to do what you do, okay? Enlist in professional help. This, again, has been a crutch that I've resorted to over the years. Maybe not so much of a crutch, but more of a resource. Having a coach. Okay, I've had a number of different coaches over the course of my career. All have been incredibly helpful, and I've taken bits and pieces of things that I've learned and incorporated into my practice and the management of my practice. Right, everything from language, everything from understanding how to have a meaningful conversation, activity goals and habits, and also getting rid of the head trash that we have from time to time, right? When you're having a bad day or a bad week or, hopefully this doesn't happen often, but maybe even a bad year, right? Personally, financially, and professionally. A coach has been super helpful for me, so I would encourage you guys to look into that if you haven't already. Focus on things that you're good at, okay? In terms of building your market and being out in the community, if you're not interested or good at, for example, baseball, don't, try to host a client appreciation event at a baseball game or any sporting event if that doesn't appeal to you, right? The point I'm trying to make is if you are doing things, from a growth perspective that you're good at, there will be a positive outcome, right? It's not going to be a drag, okay? Offload or delegate tasks that don't drive revenue but are still important, right? All of those administrative tasks, all of those responsibilities that, are time consuming, but they're keeping you from being face to face with individuals or businesses and helping them, right? It's important to still be involved in that process to know what's going on, but I would definitely recommend offloading or delegating that to an administrative assistant or an associate. Posting and planning every day. This is something that I've struggled with personally, throughout my, years in business, and I'm trying to get better at. But I've found that if at the end of the day, if you're revisiting what took place, whether it's 9 p.m. or 10 p.m. in front of the TV, it doesn't matter, but you're revisiting what took place that day. How many meetings did you have? What follow-ups are needed? What case notes need to be made, right? And getting ready for the next day to say, hey, I've got an 8 o'clock meeting tomorrow. What am I going to talk about? Sometimes I think we get in the habit of just trying to wing it, okay? Because life gets in the way or business gets in the way. I would encourage you guys to not do that. It becomes apparent to the people that we're working with, our clients, and, it diminishes your credibility if you're not prepared. So posting and planning every day at the end of your day before you go to sleep, I think ultimately will help you become a better prepared professional. Going back to networking and events, host events for existing clients and also potential and future clients. Okay, when you host events, do things around what you enjoy, right? If you're not a person that enjoys wine, don't host a wine tasting, as an example, okay? Monitor your weekly goals, goes back to posting and planning, and fill in the gaps, again, from Monday to Tuesday. If you haven't, gotten close to your 5 meetings for the week, look at Wednesday through Friday and say, hey, what do I need to do to get 3 more meetings on the calendar this week? Whether it's follow-ups, whether it's, attending a networking event or calling someone that's been on your call list. Always focus on providing value. If you provide value, the dollars will follow, okay? Clients benefit from the work that we do. We have to be adamant about sharing the information and educating our clients and walking them or creating a roadmap to help them better, be financially prepared, right? Financial education isn't something, unfortunately, that's being taught in school nowadays unless you're majoring in it or specializing. So it behooves us to use the information that we know to provide value and then think about, the financial outcome if the client implements, our recommendation solutions. If you have a mindset of, hey, I have commission breadth and I'm trying to think about, money first, I think that's just a recipe for disaster. Again, the clients can see through that, and ultimately it will not keep you around in the industry. And, not to mention you're doing, something, totally irresponsible and inappropriate in working with clients. Good activity will help you develop patience. What I mean by that is, when your week is slow and your calendar is not full, you tend to get impatient to think about, hey, when's my next case? When's my next client? Or am I going to hit my goals for this year or this month, right? It creates anxiety and lack of patience that, frankly, is just going to destroy your business, right? So if you have good strong activity, it'll develop patience naturally. Last but not least, Zach was curious about what I meant by this. Don't hunt for the elephant. And what I mean by this is, if you're in this industry looking for one or two or maybe even five big cases or big clients on an annual basis, I'm sorry to disappoint you. This is not the career, right? If we focus on just hunting those elephants, those massive cases or clients with a ton of money that can be, under management or products that can be implemented, it's not going to be a good outcome for you, right? Going back to being an advocate and fiduciary for your clients. So I would encourage you, don't hunt the elephant. If you're doing the activity, if you're focusing on the activity first, once in a while that big case will come about. It's just naturally, it will happen. I've experienced it, right? But put the client first, put value first, and the dollars will follow. All right, sharpening the axe. Continuing to refine your craft. Our industry is constantly changing, as I'm sure many of you guys know. These are some books that I would recommend. Going through Lilly. These are two of these books, Credibility and Good to Great, are books that we covered during the 6-month curriculum. Great industry and just life, books. When it comes to helping you think in a way that might be uncomfortable, very different, and creating that knowledge base to ultimately have focus and drive around what it is that you're doing. I mentioned knowing your why. That's a kind of a mantra that was brought about by an author named Simon Sinek. He has a book that I would highly recommend, which is Start With Why, and I've listed that here. And then Energy Bus. This is a short book, very short book by John Gordon. I'm not going to go too much into it, but it'll kind of help to put things in perspective in terms of, just everyday life events that can happen and that can deter you from, goals and objectives that you might have and accomplishing them. All right. Last but not least, stay up to date with what's happening in the industry, as I mentioned earlier. Continuing education is very important. A lot of us have that as a mandatory requirement from our regulatory or state level. I would encourage you to get involved in NAIFA. I would be remiss if I didn't put a NAIFA plug in here. NAIFA's been a great resource for me over the years, and I look forward to continuing to be more involved. At the end of the day, guys, NAIFA is helping to protect our livelihood, right? They're making sure that we're able to continue helping our clients and doing the work that we do. So I highly encourage you guys to get involved if you haven't already. And then finally, continue pursuing and honing in on your craft and refining it. Pursue credentials, get additional licenses wherever appropriate, and continue to build your knowledge. Okay. With that, I'll wrap up with my contact info. If any of you guys on the call today or gals have any questions, want to dive deeper into anything that I mentioned, I'm happy to chat with you 10, 15 minutes at a future date and give insights. I've benefited from experienced individuals throughout the course of my career, and I hope to continue utilizing professionals that have been doing this longer than I have. I encourage you guys to do the same. This is my way of paying it forward. So if there's any way that I can help, I'm happy to do so. And go Nats! What an incredible night last night. I hope we can take it all.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us today and presenting for us. I really appreciate it. I definitely was curious about the elephant. It makes a lot more sense now. If anyone has any questions for Gafar, please feel free to use the chat or unmute yourself and ask directly to him.
We had a quiet room, huh?
Yeah, but you know, it's a Wednesday.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but
Well, if there's
hey,
no questions, guys,
yeah,
feel free to reach out individually if you want to follow up. Hope to come across many of you guys on the call today at some point in time. And, you know, I want to thank again NAFA and Zach for helping put this together.
Gafar, are the slides available?
Are the slides available? I mean, I guess I could make it available. Sure. I don't have it published anywhere.
Okay, yeah, if you want to, I will send the slides out to anyone that reaches out to me, and if you have your permission to send just the direct presentation that you used today.
Sure.
You don't want to edit it at all, or is it all good?
No, I think I'm okay.
Okay, sounds good. Well, with that, I will wrap up for this afternoon. I thank you everyone for being on the call today. If you want,
Thank you too.
oh, thank you. If you want the recording, or you want any past week's recordings, or you want the slides, please reach out to me at recruitment@nafa.org. And I hope everyone has a great rest of their week. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Take care.